Everything that Inner City Law Center does is focused on housing and homelessness. When clients come to us, they usually are not just struggling with one issue. 44% of our clients have household incomes of under $10,000 a year, and a quarter of our clients come to us already experiencing homelessness. We work with our clients to try to figure out what does a pathway to stable housing look like, and then we work closely with them to tackle those issues and try to put them on that pathway.
When the wildfires devastated LA County, not only were many people's homes destroyed, but also many people's livelihoods. Inner City Law Center, in coalition with the Keep LA Housed Coalition, worked tirelessly for about 2 months to try to get tenant protections enacted for folks to protect those who were impacted by the fires economically, to make sure that if they were going to be evicted for non-payment, they had a defense for eviction.
With our effort, the Board of Supervisors passed an emergency motion. Because of an emergency motion, it applied over the entire county.
Last year, we recovered over $7.3 million for our homeless veteran clients, which means that veterans who have been on the streets now have access to health care, have access to monetary benefits, have access to housing support that they did not have before.
Under bringing families home, the lack of housing can actually have implications on the underlying dependency case. And for these parents, they're not just potentially losing their home, they're losing their child.
Inner City Law Center Bringing Families Home project is designed to ensure that by the time the family is ready to come back together, or ideally before they even get split apart, that the family has housing stability.
The HLP program is more important now than ever, even though the program is kind of focused on working with individuals with an HIV or AIDS diagnosis. In reality, the majority of the clients that we actually help underneath this grant are LGBTQIA.
We are also increasingly forcing landlords to not evict tenants when they are using what we call renovictions, but they're saying they're going to renovate their apartments, and then in practice it's just a way to get tenants out, and they're not actually doing substantial renovations to the apartment.
We were also building our own case to show these renovations would not justify an eviction, and also that the landlords were not acting in good faith. The city council had finally drafted an ordinance prohibiting this type of eviction. Astoundingly, the city council not only passed that ordinance, but they made it apply to pending cases. The law has changed. We win.
The biggest thing holding back Inner City Law Center from doing more and having an even bigger impact for our clients is the lack of resources to be able to hire more staff. That requires donors, volunteers, supporters to step up and to enable our work to be possible.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here today. In this moment, this difficult moment in our country, when we see so much hatred and cruelty every day, when anarchy is being loosed upon the world, and everywhere we look, things are falling apart. This is the moment when we must come together. Those of us who believe that no human being should have to sleep on our streets, that everyone should have a safe place to lay their head every night. Those of us who believe that every human being should always be treated with dignity and with respect must come together. We must lift our voices. We must speak up. We must fight for those who are most vulnerable in our society. That is what the 146 staff at Inner City Law Center do every single day. We have a number of those staff here with us today. I'd like to ask that you please rise. Last year, the men and women who just stood recovered over $20 million for Inner City Law Center clients. These are tough times for our clients. We serve about 3,000 clients each year. We have clients whose landlords are threatening to report them to ICE. clients who are too scared to come to court and therefore losing their homes, clients who rely on housing vouchers, Medicaid, disability benefits, all things that are in jeopardy at the moment. But our clients are strong, our clients are resilient. We are honored to serve our clients, and we are proud to stand with them. We stand with them because of your support. We stood with them last year when we filed over 100 discrimination complaints against landlords who refused to rent to Section 8 voucher holders, despite the fact that that is clearly illegal in California. In this work, we have many partners, and we are pleased to be honoring one of them today who has been a stalwart supporter of Inner City Law Center's clients and the communities that we serve. We are very pleased to have LA City Councilwoman Nithya Raman here with us today. Last year, 448 attorneys donated their time, in addition to the work that Inner City Law Center staff did, to serve our clients. We are also pleased today to be presenting the Catherine Krause Award to two of those law firms, Robbins Kaplan and Brown, Goldstein, and Levy. These two firms, along with Inner City Law Center and along with our partners at Public Counsel, are trying to force, or are forcing, the VA to build housing for homeless veterans here in Los Angeles. Also with us here today is the person on whose shoulders we all stand at Inner City Law Center. I'm very pleased that Nancy Minty is with us today, our founder. Also here is the incredible Dolores Huerta. Dolores, you won't remember this, but when I was a first-year law student, I spent my summer, after my first year of law school, working for now Judge Cortez in the Watsonville area for the United Farm Workers. You were an inspiration to all of us that summer, and now, at age 95, Dolores is a model for how one can live a life that's focused on love, on service, and the fight for justice. Thank you for being here. Both Nancy and Dolores have spent their lives fighting for the idea that in the United States of America, no one should have to live in poverty. We share that vision at Inner City Law Center. That's why we fight for housing. That's why we fight for justice. It is an honor to be in that struggle with all of you here today. Thank you for being here. I'm now going to pass the mic to two of our incredible board members who are the co-chairs of today's event, Matt Cohen and Mike Turrell.
Good afternoon, everybody. As Adam said, my name is Mike Turrell. I am a proud board member of the Inner City Law Center and also have the honor of serving as this year's co-chair of this wonderful luncheon here today.
And I'm Matt Cowan, Mike's co-chair, and I also serve on the Inner City Law Center board.
We are thrilled to welcome you and grateful that you could join us here today. Before we dive in, let's take a moment to thank some of our generous sponsors whose names you will see on the screens and in your programs. We'd like to give a special shout out to our advocate level sponsors, the David Geffen Foundation and Judicate West. Let's give them a round of applause.
We also want to proudly recognize our champion level sponsors, Bird Morella, Kroll and Mooring, Houston Hennigan, Latham and Watkins, Michelson Philanthropies, Munger Tolles and Olson, O'Melveny and Myers, Sharon Oxborough, and Troutman Pepper Locke. Let's give them a round of applause. Also, a huge thank you to the Luncheon Committee and the ICLC development staff. Their hard work made this incredible event possible. This luncheon is a meaningful moment for us to celebrate remarkable honorees, elevate the voices of our clients, and spotlight the critical work that ICLC does every day.
And it's really more than just a celebration. Today is a powerful opportunity to support the work in a real, tangible way. The funds that we will raise today will sustain inner-city law centers' life-changing legal services all year long. We're excited to share that as of this morning, we have already raised $763,000. Great news, but we're not stopping there. Every dollar raised here today helps prevent evictions, protect struggling families, and move homeless veterans into permanent housing. To support this essential mission, we've made a bold fundraising goal here today in the room to raise $100,000 right here today. And we're going to need your help to make that happen.
Okay, folks, here's how you can help us get there. You can take out your phones. It's not rude at lunch if it's for a good cause. And you can text ICLC 2025 to 41444. Don't worry, those instructions are printed everywhere. They're on your tables, and there's a QR code on the back of your program to help you do that. You'll get a reply with the donation link. Click it, enter your info, and you're done. It only takes a minute. As you donate, your pledge will light up our fundraising thermometer on the screen.
And to help us get started, I'm very happy to announce that our wonderful board of directors, as well as our advisory board, have generously pledged to match the first $25,000 raised here in the room today. So that means when you give today, your donation will go twice as far to support veterans, people with disabilities, and families on the brink of homelessness. Let's check in on our progress.
You can see better than us, but the dollars are already rolling in. So thank you everyone who has already texted. Feel free to start a little rivalries among the tables to see who can donate more. But every gift that you all put together today brings us closer to that goal.
And just a reminder as well, we love participation, so no gift is too small. Of course, no gift is too big either. The more we raise, the more people Inner City Law Center can help, and the stronger our impact will be.
So we'll check in on our progress towards reaching that $100,000 goal a little bit later. But for now, it's our pleasure to turn the mic over to Inner City Law Center's Chief Operating Officer, Sean Bolton.
First of all, we want to thank you for being here today. Your presence is much more than appreciated. It's actually powerful. We're gathered here not just to celebrate our outstanding individuals and organizations, but to recommit ourselves to the fight against homelessness and housing injustice. Every day, Inner City Law Center is on the front lines of fighting homelessness, providing life-saving legal services to veterans, families, and people living with disabilities, and so many others. These people, as well as ourselves, deserve safety, dignity, and a place to call home. But none of this work happens without support. This would be a message that you hear all throughout the day. That's why today is so important. The funds we raise today will directly fuel the advocacy and legal representation and systematic change that Los Angeles so urgently needs. By being here, by giving, by showing up, you're saying that homelessness is unacceptable. And more importantly, that we're going to do something about it. Thank you for standing with us in this fight. By being here and showing up, you are showing that you understand where we are currently, not only in our nation, but in this critical time. I'd like to share a bit more about Inner City Law Center's one of Inner City Law Center's most transformative projects, our Homeless Veterans Project. Los Angeles is the home to more unhoused veterans than any other city in the nation. And we have to ask ourselves, how did we get here? And what are we going to do about it? Many veterans depend on the benefits they've earned through their service to pay for essentials, especially housing. But when those benefits are denied or delayed, the consequences can be devastating. In a city like ours, where rents are high and the safety net is unstable, many veterans end up on the streets. That's where Inner City and our staff come into play. Inner City steps in when veterans are struggling to access their benefits. Sometimes this is years, even decades, and we don't give up. We stand by their side through every appeal for as long as it takes. And our determination pays off for our clients. Our Homeless Veterans Project team has a 94 success rate. I'm gonna say that again, a 94 success rate of winning VA benefits appeals, which is nearly 3 times the national average at 32%. So again, a 94% success rate. But just as important as the legal victories are, more important are the relationships that we build. Sometimes we're the only ear that folks have to lean on. Sometimes our attorneys are sitting and hearing the stories that are not only affect them, but are affecting others. We are the people that are both seeing, hearing, and ensuring that our veterans' stories are valued. And sometimes that's all that truly matters. So I'd like you all to take your attention and time to hear where the heart and strength comes from our organization, is hearing from one of our veteran clients in his own words.
So I was in the military from 1980 to 1990. I had things that happened during the military to me, and I've been trying to get my benefits going since then. I was homeless for like 30 plus years. I had little odd jobs I was doing before all my benefits kicked in. But I went to different programs, try to get back on my feet.
My client came to Inner City Law Center originally for assistance with Social Security. The VA assigns each veteran a rating to determine the level that they are disabled. I noticed reviewing the records that there was a significant behavior change in my client's performance while he was in the military, and so that established the basis for a mental health claim. We were able to receive over $135,000 in retroactive benefits for the client. Additionally, he'll continue to receive over $3,700 a month for the rest of his life. And then we were also able to get an overpayment of $1,085.85 waived by the VA.
I'll be able to have more and do more with myself, I got a future now. I can work my way up to get my apartment. I can see things that I couldn't see before. I can do things that I couldn't do before. I'm here today because of Inner City Law. Hope starts with you.
Please welcome back to the stage Inner City Law Center CEO, Adam Murray.
In this moment, when things appear so bleak on the national stage, it's especially important that we celebrate our local government champions. And that's why I'm particularly excited to introduce our first honoree of the day, Los Angeles City Councilmember Nithya Raman. Councilmember Raman has made homelessness not just a priority, but the central focus of her work on the City Council. And she deeply understands and is committed to this issue. She understands that at its root, homelessness is about housing access and housing affordability. That's why she's been a staunch advocate for renters' rights, for preserving affordable housing, and for creating new affordable housing. She understands that we are more effective at bringing people inside when our policies are coordinated and humane rather than disjointed and punitive. She understands that ending homelessness starts with preventing it in the first place, which is why she has been a champion of countywide, regional solutions that focus on ending homelessness before it happens. I'd like you to please join me in welcoming Councilmember Nithya Raman to the stage. So, very pleased to present this award to Councilmember Nithya Raman, who has been such a staunch champion for Inner City Law Center's clients and for the communities that we serve. It's been a pleasure to work with her, and we look forward to continuing to work with her as we move forward. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thanks. This is probably the brainiest group here because it's probably all lawyers, so forgive me. I'm just a lowly urban planner. Thank you so much, Adam, for that warm introduction. Thank you to all of the Inner City Law Center staff that I've engaged with in my work, Madi, Mike Fewer, my former colleague at City Hall, Shane, Bindu, Sean, whose words were so meaningful just now. I just want to say getting recognized by this group means so much to me. 45 incredible years of your work here in Los Angeles, the work that you do with such deep empathy, such a deep commitment to justice. I feel very special to be recognized by this group of all groups, so thank you so much. And to be recognized in the company of Dolores Huerta, I mean, I can't believe it. And to the firms who've provided so many hours of work, Robbins, Kaplan, and Brown, Goldstein, and Levy, I know that you are committed to a vision of Los Angeles that is just as well, and your commitment means that the work of Inner City Law Center can be carried further and wider and impact more people. So thank you so much for stepping up to provide that support. I wanted to say, you know, I'm really proud of the work that we've been able to do in City Hall, and I'm proud because I represent part of a culture shift that Inner City Law Center and most of you in this room always were a part of, but it wasn't enshrined at LA City Hall. You know, I came into City Hall working as an advocate around homelessness. I had been a volunteer in my own neighborhood, saw the paucity of services and shelter, fought for those changes, realized I didn't get the ear of City Hall, and so I decided to run myself. And now I was part of a big shift that's really enshrined in a widespread way in City Hall, where we invest a lot of money in shelter, in services, in ending homelessness, rather than just pushing people from sidewalk to sidewalk or from sidewalk to jail. And you were always a part of that, so I'm really excited that I got to be a little piece of that movement. I'm also a little piece of a bigger movement that you were also a part of, which is, for the first time when I ran, I knocked on doors in apartment buildings and talked to them about what the city's role in enshrining protections for renters was. And they voted. Voter turnout in my first election increased by 5 times. And that's how I won. I got voted in by people who had never voted in municipal elections before, because I said to them, City Hall can care about renters as much as it cares about homeowners in this city. And thanks to that change in perspective, now a new fervor has come in at City Hall, where we are passing universal just cause eviction protections, the largest city in America to do that. A right to counsel. We're passing protections that can ensure that we actually get data about who's receiving eviction notices, so that the incredible work that you and public counsel are doing can actually be targeted at those people who are actually receiving notices of eviction, so that we can make sure that the people who are most at risk of losing their homes are getting the limited resources that we have. And so I'm really grateful to be a part of that culture shift, and to be really, as the chair of the Housing and Homelessness Committee, part of enshrining that at City Hall. And I want to use just this moment, because this is such a powerful group, because you've shifted culture in LA, to ask for your help in two other ways. One is that there is a huge housing shortage here in the city of Los Angeles. And yet there is a historical resistance to building new housing in LA. There is a historical resistance that is entrenched, and even if people want more housing at the citywide level, when it comes to housing or shelters or permanent supportive housing in their neighborhoods, we still say no. Or we say, but maybe more parking, but maybe this, but maybe that. And I would love to get all of your support in creating in Los Angeles a culture of yes. Because without abundant housing opportunities here in LA, we know that tenants who are struggling with a bad landlord don't have a choice. They have to turn to legal support in order to find their rights, instead of being able to move. That people who are holding vouchers can't find another landlord who are going to accept that voucher. We have to change that system by building a lot more housing here. And secondly, I want to say that there is an enormous effort underfoot, led by the national level, but really there are a lot of echoes of this at the local level as well, to undermine public service, to undermine the work of government, to undermine the work of nonprofits. And I've seen this really in the homelessness sector. Some of you may know that I've been leading work to create more homelessness oversight at City Hall, breaking down silos between the county and the city and nonprofits, creating a place where real homelessness oversight can be buttressed by regular data. But I'm doing this not just because I want accountability for our service providers and for the system, and because I want every dollar to be spent well, but because I want to make a case for this work. Because I want to make a case that the work that you all do every single day is impacting people on the ground. So next time you hear that story about how our homelessness dollars are being wasted, tell them, no, I saw a story of how someone was helped off the street and indoors. Without that, I fear that we are going to be moving into a response which makes me very scared for the future of this country, but I have faith in Los Angeles, and I have faith in all of you that we will continue to build a system that is enshrined in compassion and in justice and in fiscal prudence and in accountability. We can do all of that because all of you are engaged in it. Thank you so much.
Congratulations to our Humanitarian Award honoree recipient, Councilmember Nithya Raman. Don't forget to text your gift of support to 41444. All donations are greatly appreciated. Now let's hear from another ICLC client.
Yo me mudé a Los Ángeles cuando yo vivía en la frontera con mi esposo porque esa casa era de nosotros.
My client was renting the unit from her ex-husband, and he was her former landlord. He sold the unit to another person, and that person was evicting her with this 60-day no-fault notice.
Le dije, ¿a usted no le dijeron que yo vivía aquí? Dijo él, no. A mí me entregaron la unidad vacía. Le digo, es ilógico porque tengo viviendo el 2012 y yo pagaba mi renta constantemente. Emocionalmente me afectó muchísimo y principalmente mis hijos y mi mamá, que ya es una persona de 80 años, y mis hijos tengo menores de edad. Nosotros pensamos que ya estábamos desalojados. Entonces, pues fue terrible porque a ver algo así, decíanos que a dónde íbamos a ir, porque nosotros no tenemos familiares en Los Ángeles, nada.
The ex-husband actually broke into my client's garage and stole all of her documentation of any rent receipts that she had paid him. The ex-husband, when he had sold the unit to this new landlord, had told him that my client had never paid any rent. Then her unit was not subject to the rent stabilization ordinance, and she was just a tenant at will. And then when you're a tenant at will, you can be evicted according to a 60-day notice. And that's why ultimately we ended up having to take the case to trial. We did get a unanimous jury verdict in our favor, which means she was able to remain in her unit at the rate that she was renting it from her ex-husband.
Fue como quitarme un peso de encima. Chayanne, la abogada, fue muy buena para mí. Yo fue el día de mi cumpleaños, y le dije, no pudiste darme mejor regalo que quedar en mi casa que mi cumpleaños. Mi esperanza empezó con ustedes.
Please welcome Inner City Law Center Director of Pro Bono, Vidya Raghunathan.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Vidya, and for the last 10 years, I've had the privilege and honor of serving as Inner City Law Center's Director of Pro Bono. At Inner City Law Center, pro bono is not just appreciated, it is absolutely essential. Last year alone, more than 700 pro bono partners, many of you who are in the room today, dedicated nearly 20,000 hours to fighting evictions, to helping Angelenos get financial stability, and to fight for safe and affordable housing. This remarkable commitment reflects not just professional excellence, but a deep compassion and a fierce sense of justice. Every year, Inner City Law Center presents the Catherine Krause Award to individuals or entities who make notable contributions to our client communities. This award recognizes those who, like Catherine, have made real and meaningful change in the neighborhoods and for people who most need it. Today, we're proud to honor two extraordinary law firms, Brown, Goldstein, and Levy, and Robbins Kaplan, with the 2025 Catherine Krause Award. For the last few years, both of these law firms joined forces with Public Counsel and Inner City Law Center in the landmark Powers v. McDowell case, securing a historic legal victory for unhoused and disabled veterans. Their work led to a ruling that mandates long overdue reforms at the West Los Angeles VA campus, including new housing for veterans and improved healthcare services for our veteran neighbors. Serving their neighbors is a part of the DNA of a Brown, Goldstein, and Levy attorney. Because of that, they donated nearly 1,000 hours last year to just serving unhoused veterans alone. This type of commitment to clients means real transformation in the lives of people. The people at Robbins Kaplan believe that every person deserves equal access to the legal system. It's a very basic thing. And because of that, they've spent more than 3,000 hours last year just on the Powers litigation. Their dedication to justice is matched only by the scale of their service. So please join me in welcoming two attorneys who truly embody the spirit of this award and the work that we are here to celebrate today. Roman Silberfeld, partner at Robbins Kaplan, and Eve Hill, partner at Brown, Goldstein, and Levy.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be with you. First of all, congratulations to Nithya on your award, and Dolores. It is humbling for all of us to be in your presence. It honestly is. Congratulations to my friend Eve on this award, and I want to tell you a little bit about how we got here. In 1938, a young lawyer by the name of Solly Robbins couldn't get a job at any of the established firms in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where he was born and raised. And he couldn't get a job there because Jewish lawyers weren't hired by those firms. And so Solly's answer was, I have a vision to form a law firm that will allow everyone to be represented, allow everyone to pursue their dreams. He wanted to form a law firm that represented the Fortune 500 as well as those who were unable to pay anything for legal services. He had a deep devotion to public interest work himself, and he created that law firm. At the beginning, it was 2 people. It's now 250. And 87 years later, we continue to celebrate Solly's vision and his ethic and his core values. Thank you. Solly left us in 1999, coincidentally the same year that Catherine Krause left us. She, if you don't know much about her, you should look her up. She was an amazing champion of the underserved and the unprivileged people in this community. And we're deeply honored to receive the award in her name. And the shared values of Catherine and Solly Robbins are what drive our work today, including the work in the Powers case. Powers was special. It remains that way. We're still in the Ninth Circuit awaiting a decision on the appeals. But that kind of work, while I'm pleased to be honored on behalf of our firm, and Eve is as well, that kind of work doesn't happen except through immense teamwork. And I'd like to recognize the lawyers at Public Counsel. Catherine Eidman is here, Mark Rosenbaum is here, who tried the case, and in particular, the folks at Inner City Law Center, who were there with us every step of the way. Adam, first of all, thank you. Thank you to Amanda Powell. Thank you to Ty Glenn. Thank you to John Killeran. Thank you to Charles Korhorst. Each and every time we got together, we made the process of handling that case better by reason of the collaborative thinking of all these very, very dedicated and wonderfully smart people. And I got to stand up and deliver some of that in the course of trial. I also would like to recognize my young partner, Tommy Dew, who is here, who tried the case with me. And Tommy and I lived in this building for, 6 weeks or so, and spent many nights wondering about how we were going to get from here to there to get to the end that we finally got. And it was a historic win on behalf of our veteran clients. So as we celebrate, I leave you with this. And I know I'm preaching to the converted here, but I implore each of you, as we celebrate, to remember that there's much left to be done in the work that we do to make the world a more just place. Thank you for the award. Thank you very much.
Just got to find my remarks. Don't worry, it'll work. I hope. There they are. So, good afternoon. I can't see any of you. I am so deeply honored to be here today accepting the Catherine Krause Award and truly humbled to be recognized alongside heroes like Dolores Huerta, Nithya Raman, and Roman Silverfeld. Sharing this space with them and with all of you who fight every day for dignity and justice is an award in itself. I come from a small but mighty law firm, Brown, Goldstein, and Levy. We're just 20 lawyers, based in Baltimore and DC, but we punch well above our weight. That's not because we have big budgets or flashy offices, but because we have something even better: clients and partners who are brave, visionary, and brilliant. And that's why it was such an honor to work on Powers versus McDonough with the Inner City Law Center and Public Counsel. Together, we challenged the Department of Veterans Affairs for its long-standing failure to provide supportive housing for homeless veterans with serious mental illness and traumatic brain injury. This was not just a lawsuit. It was a declaration that our veterans deserve much better. And we stood shoulder to shoulder with Rob Reynolds, a relentless advocate and the hardest working man I know. And we stood with courageous veterans, men and women who risked everything for this country, suffered trauma and injury in the line of duty, and then came home to find themselves abandoned. So being a part of that case that brought them a measure of justice is one of the deepest honors of my career. At BGL, I am lucky enough with my colleagues to do this kind of work every day. I'm a disability rights lawyer primarily, so I've had the privilege of working with groups like the National Federation of the Blind and the American Association of People with Disabilities, fighting to uphold the Americans with Disabilities Act and other federal disability rights laws. Right now, we're representing them in a lawsuit challenging the current administration's decimation of the Social Security Administration, which will harm people with disabilities and older people trying to access the benefits that they've earned. We're also representing transgender women in federal and state prisons who faced violence, denial of medical treatment, and harassment simply because of who they are. We are working with unions to defend the rights of probationary federal employees who were fired without due process, and we're partnering with the National Fair Housing Alliance to challenge discriminatory practices by major banks and landlords that devastate communities of color. Now, full disclosure, these cases aren't exactly pro bono in the traditional sense. We hope to get paid when we win by the defendants. But that business model, like our rule of law itself, is under threat. Courts are throwing more and more obstacles in the way of civil rights cases and individual rights cases, from strict standing requirements to limits on class actions, from extreme delays in issuing decisions to prohibitions on damages, from immunity to denials of private rights of actions. And the change in the federal administration has added more barriers. Now law firms are being directly threatened to make them stop representing individuals and civil rights clients. Federal civil rights enforcement agencies are being decimated, and the federal government is discarding its unique ability to enforce disparate impact discrimination. And of course, the government is at war with diversity, equity, and inclusion of underserved communities. So now more than ever, we need to keep showing up for our clients, our values, and for justice. Whether you're doing this work pro bono or fee shifting or just because it's the right thing to do, I want to tell you, it is the most meaningful, rewarding, and downright joyful work you'll ever do. And sometimes, if you're lucky, you get an award for it. So thank you really from the bottom of my heart for this recognition, and thank you for letting me be a part of this movement with all of you. Let's keep fighting.
Congratulations to our Catherine Krause honoree recipients, Roman Silberfeld and Eve Hill. Have you made your gift of support yet? Don't forget to text your gift of support to 41444. All donations are greatly appreciated. No gift is too big or too small. Now please welcome ICLC President of our Board of Directors, Kenneth Trujillo Jameson.
Good afternoon, everyone. Looking I think the thermometer was just up. Can I just see that one more time? Wow, so we're already above $30,000. Thank you very much for all your support. I recall that Mike and Matt said that the board was going to kick in 25. We can go ahead and add that 25,000 to that number. Thank you so much. We are closer to our $100,000 goal, but we haven't gotten there quite yet. The food just got served, so you still have time to make that donation. Again, my name is Kenneth Trujillo Jameson. I have the pleasure to serve as the board president. And this event and Inner City Law Center's work overall is deeply important to me. I deeply believe that everyone should have access to stable, safe housing. And that's a key reason why I've been involved in Inner City Law Center for many years. I've long been interested in housing justice issues. Over the course of my life, members of my family have experienced housing insecurity, and currently my own family is displaced because of the Altadena wildfires. So I know the importance of having a roof over your head and how losing your housing can change your life in an instant. When I was in law school, I did tenant defense work, and I represented tenants in public housing projects in New Haven, Connecticut. And my fellow students and I believe that with our hard work and our advocacy, we could keep our clients off the cold New Haven streets. So when I moved to Los Angeles after law school, I wanted to continue to make an impact in the area and to do what I could to support tenants who had no one in their corner, immigrant families, veterans, and those with disabilities. And day after day, that's what Inner City Law Center does. The members of Inner City Law Center help those that need it the most. Earlier today, we saw Lizbeth's story, and she was one of the thousands of clients that our Tenant Defense Project has helped over the years. Now, many of you, this probably doesn't come as a surprise to you all, but most tenants who are facing eviction can't afford legal representation. But without a lawyer, less than 1% of tenants win their eviction cases. 1%, less than 1%. But when a client has an Inner City Law Center lawyer by their side, our clients achieve a positive outcome 95% of the time. It's truly the case that Inner City Law Center has been the key to our clients retaining and securing housing. And we're really proud of all the work that the Tenant Defense Project does for Inner City Law Center. Another Inner City Law Center program I want to tell you about that helps some of the most under-resourced residents in Los Angeles County is our Public Benefits Advocacy Team. Now, fighting an eviction on your own is already incredibly difficult. But imagine doing that while also struggling with a serious disability. Almost half of Inner City Law Center's clients are living with a disability, and they depend on public benefits to pay their rent. And that means that when their public benefits are denied, their housing is immediately in danger. And it's a story that Inner City Law Center's public benefits team hears all too often. And so in this next video, we're going to hear from a public benefits client in her own words. Let's hear what she has to say.
I was 29 years old when I had a partial temporal lobectomy with an amygdalohippocambectomy. My daughters, who are twins, were 6 years old at the time of the surgery. The seizure started when I was 18, but I was 20 when I was diagnosed. The epilepsy meds they tried putting me on did not keep it under control. It was brain surgery that had to be done in order to try to see if it would work. I didn't know pretty much anything about my life because the epilepsy I had took my memory. My mom was the one who wonderfully put me on disability, but I assumed it's not something you have to reapply for. It's not something you have to do anything with. All of a sudden, I tried to use my card where they deposit the money that I get from disability, and it had $0 on it. So that's when I found out that I had to go to the Social Security office the next day. I kept telling him I needed help, meaning even just explaining to me the papers to fill out. Something simple is not simple to me. And it's just because it doesn't process the right way in my brain.
When we get referrals from the county, I review any notes that her providers may have included, the denial notices from Social Security. Social Security determined that she was no longer disabled and able to re-enter the workforce.
And this is where I got the call from Inner City Law.
I was able to look at this client's documents and history as she was referred to us for further legal assistance.
If my continuation of benefits would have stopped, it would have been impossible to survive.
She was at risk of losing her housing as well as potentially losing her kids. Her legal team here at Inner City Law Center realized that the best approach to working with her to strengthen her case would be to set up recurring meetings with her. That patience and dependability was really something that set up trust. We were able to fill out the forms with her so that we would be able to explain things that she may not understand. Once this client continued treatment and we were able to gather medical records, our team was able to submit the records to the judge. He issued a favorable decision.
When I found out that I won my disability case, it was the second best day of my life, after my daughter's. Inner City Law was the reason I got to actually become my daughter's mom again. Hope starts with you.
Thank you, Lexi, for sharing your story, and thanks to the Public Benefits Advocacy Team for all that you do on behalf of our clients. Now I'd like to turn over the next part of our program to our newest board members. Please let me introduce Shauna Woods and James Unger.
Hi, I'm Shauna Woods. I'm an attorney at Allen Mackins. I first got involved or learned about Inner City when I was probably about 10 years old. My dad, who was here today, hi Dad, was at the time litigating a impact litigation involving a habitability case. And I remember being at our kitchen table and he told me about one of his clients. One of the clients was a tenant in the building who was probably 6 years old at the time, and he had an earache. He went to the doctor, and at the doctor's office, the doctor reached into his ear and pulled out a cockroach. And then the doctor reached in and pulled out a second cockroach. And that story has stuck with me for a very long time, as it will stick with all of you, I know. Leading me to intern at Inner City Law Center when I was in college, and joining the board this past year has been a huge honor for me. James, how did you get involved in Inner City?
So I was asked to join the Pro Bono Council of Inner City Law Center by a former colleague of mine, and started working with Inner City about 5 years ago now, and have litigated unlawful detainer cases. Some of my colleagues are now working on an affirmative litigation case, and fortunately no cockroaches, but the work has been tremendously rewarding. I've gotten to see up close how talented and fantastic Inner City Law Center's staff and lawyers are, and how much of an impact this work makes, and it's been incredibly rewarding.
We'd like to show a quick video.
It's time.
Take out your phone.
It's time to get texting.
Get those thumbs ready.
This is your moment.
Let's turn compassion into action.
You make this possible.
Your generosity changes lives.
Because of you, I got my benefits.
Because of you, I got a second chance.
Gracias a personas como ustedes pude quedarme en mi casa.
We can't do it without you.
Your support give me dignity.
Every gift counts.
Your support empowers the vulnerable.
Your support helps us fight for justice.
One text can change a life.
This is your moment.
Text to give now.
It starts with you.
Let's go!
So as you all know, we're here today to celebrate the great work of Inner City Law Center, but we're also here to continue to support that work. So let's see how we're doing on the thermometer.
Wow. That's great. So, as Kenneth mentioned, this is a new board tradition that Shauna and I are up here, and it's one I was actually not informed of before I joined the board, which is the sort of Machiavellian tactics that Adam Murray has become well known for in the service of inner city's amazing work. But you can see we're at $57,295, and with the current matches we have, it seems like we're actually going to exceed $100,000. And so I've been informed that our new goal is $150,000. And I think we can get there. To start that off, I'll pledge $1,000. Shauna, what do you think?
I will match that. Thank you, Adam Murray, for making us do that. But I'm looking around and I'm seeing a lot of names and a lot of people here that I haven't seen their names on the screen yet. So I'm going to call some people out. Alex Smith. You're a partner at Jenner and Block, right? You do pro bono for Inner City? It's rewarding? Get out your phone. Type this number in, 41444, and then ICLC 2025. What do you think? How much are you going to donate? Thank you. That's my husband.
And I'm going to spare individuals, but I will just say the only way you're going to get rid of us is by helping us reach that goal. So please take out your phones, text whatever you feel comfortable contributing. Inner City's work is so valuable, as we all know, and from the stories we've seen. And so you can support that, and we truly appreciate it.
And we also wanted to announce that we do have a second match donation from an anonymous source. So whenever we reach that, we will be able to match it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Again, thank you all for your gifts of support. Please continue to text the gift of hope to 41444. Now let's continue with our program. Please welcome to the stage the Honorable Annabelle Cortez.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to Inner City Law Center, to Adam Murray, and to everyone who's been honored here today. My name is Annabelle Cortez, and I'm very honored to present the 2025 Humanitarian Award to Dolores Huerta. I first met Dolores almost 30 years ago. Dolores and Adam Murray were there when I was sworn in as an attorney. Dolores was also there when I was sworn in as a judge almost 12 and a half years ago. So like Adam mentioned, like most of us, I stand on her shoulders and I continue to be inspired by her lifelong work. Now, Dolores is an organizer. And organizing is about empowerment and about developing sustained relationships and engagement to work towards solutions. Dolores has been a lifelong organizer, and she's taught us that we must use our lives to support communities and to serve others. Dolores has also taught us that our voice matters, and that by tapping into our voice, along with determination and hard work, we can effectuate change. She's also taught us that change requires sustained commitment and that people must not give up, even in the face of adversity. And thus her phrase, "Si se puede." So as we gather here to thank Dolores for her work and her lifelong service, you may wonder how you can honor and how you can thank Dolores. Everyone in this room has the power and the voice to thank and honor Dolores. So I would invite you to take a moment to reflect about what you can do. Whether you're an attorney, a paralegal, a student, or a teacher, how can you use your voice and your platform to help people? Now, if you're an attorney, you already know that you have the power to serve people. So I would invite you to ask yourself what you can do, what relationships you can build, where can you volunteer your time, how can you think outside of the box and think creatively to think and work out solutions. And if you're already doing that, thank you, and do a little bit more. If you're contemplating serving others, start today. That's the best way to thank and honor Dolores for her lifelong work. Now, if you can please join me in welcoming to the stage the co-founder of the United Farm Workers of America, the president of the Dolores Huerta Foundation, and the 2025 recipient of the Humanitarian Award, and someone who I love dearly, Dolores Huerta.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I am very honored to accept this award, the Humanitarian Award. And what Judge Cortez did not tell you that when she and your CEO, Adam Murray, worked for the Farm Workers Union as volunteers, that they were not paid anything. The salary was $10 a week. And of course, the union provided everybody with their expenses, with food, gasoline, if they had any kind of medical emergencies, that they were totally, totally covered. But I would like to think that this is where they got the idea of service, of course, as they have done for many, many years. And as so many of you here in this inner city law group are doing. And I just want to thank you for everything that you've done. And you know, I often think, and we know that the homeless issue is in our minds every single day, because when we walk down the street, we see a homeless person, and we think, how can we as a society, as an educated society, not be able to solve a problem like homelessness? Really? You know, I remember, because I'm elderly, 95 years old, everybody, that I remember hearing stories during the Depression, and I remember seeing tent cities when I was growing up, you know, in the late 30s, when people didn't have jobs. Yeah, I remember them providing food banks or a soup kitchen where people could come and eat. Now, we do know that they are providing food in many places, but the kind of, I don't remember that, I remember the hobos, right? People that caught the trains to travel and would come to our house to ask for food. I remember we used to make Peter, my kids, my brothers and myself would make Peter peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and have them ready, or make some little burritos, you know, for people to come when they came to our door knocking. How did we get to the stage where homeless people are criminalized, okay? I mean, how did we get there? These are human beings. And then they talk about homeless people having mental illnesses. Well, you know, if you were on the street for a long time, you would probably want to turn to drugs to keep your mind straight, you know, your copy, you know. So we can see the symptoms of homelessness, and I want to thank all of you for doing this. And I often used to think when, you know, people like Judge Cortez and Mr. Murray would come that they were working here to do service for others. And now you have this huge organization that does the same thing. So please give yourselves an applause for what you do. And I think that we have to do, all of us, more on legislation because of the laws that are being passed in Sacramento. At least in Sacramento, we could have some influence now. We can't in other areas. But I remember working on Prop 33 that was on the ballot and going to some hearings and where people were saying, oh, no, this is not a good idea. Prop 33 was a way that we could have had elections in every municipality so that people could put some kind of rent control. We've got to start finding ways to stop the apartment managers and the realtors because they think of housing as benches that they can make more money. No, housing is a human right. Housing is a human right, and somehow we've got to bring this back to basics and not be afraid to challenge these people that have all of this money and don't care about whether people are homeless or not. No, we care. That's why we're here. That's why you're doing the work that you're doing. So we've got to make sure that we can all join forces together and keep talking to the rest of the people out there and say, you've also got to join in. Homelessness is a problem that all of us should put as one of our top priorities. As one of our top priorities, and we got to keep keeping that word out. So not just in your law practices that you're doing, but also going out to communities and saying, this is what we have to do. And because we're facing so many uncertain futures, but one of the things that we do know, we've got to have food, and we've got to have shelter, and we've got to have health care. These are the things that we have to do. We have to fight for that. And so we were talking about these uncertain times that we're living in right now, and what can we do? Well, I just wanted to share with you a couple of things I want to invite you to join in. With my foundation, the Dolores Huerta Foundation, we of course have been doing a lot of work to help people, the families of people who have been deported, people that are afraid to go to work right now. They're suffering right now from lack of rent assistance, from lack of food. We're trying to deliver food to these families so that they won't go without food during these really hard times that they're in right now, and doing some of the other work to let people know what their rights are. We've delivered, I guess, thousands of cards to people, say these are know your rights. This is what happens if you're stopped by ICE or if they try to deport you. The other thing that we're doing, of course, is all of us know that right now in the Congress, they are going to be voting on the budget cuts, right? For Medi-Cal, Medicare, food assistance, education support, assistance for our disability population, and especially our children. So yesterday and today, in front of Congressman Valadeo's office, this is our congressman from Bakersfield, California, up in the Central Valley, we are engaging in a fast. Okay, now, when I said we, I actually did the fast yesterday. I'm here having lunch with you today, so I'm not fasting today, okay? But I just wanted to say that if you kind of want to contribute to the kind of a spiritual quest, you might say, in going without food, maybe for a day, or maybe just giving up a few of your lunches or dinners, this might be one way that we can also try to send a spiritual message to the Congress that, yes, I'm willing to give up food for one day, because we know if they start cutting food, which is, of course, part of the budget bill that they're considering right now, that many people are going to go hungry, right? So we can give up food for one day. The other thing that you could do is we're actually right now participating in a boycott. And people in the South, particularly our black pastors and ministers there in the South, they instituted a boycott of Target. I don't know if you've heard of that or not. Now, this one is really easy, right? Because you just don't have to buy anything at Target. Because, as you know, they did away with their their DEI policy, diversity, inclusion, and equity. Well, when they do away with policies like that, that means that we just we're going backwards instead of forward, and getting rid of all of the isms that come from slavery. You know, all of these things that we've been fighting, like sexism and racism. Attacks on our LGBTQ community. These are the things that we've been fighting for so many years. And I did meet with the CEO of Target, and we discussed this. And he said, well, we've said we're getting away with these policies, but we're really going to try to continue them. And I said, well, why don't you say that? Why don't you put it in writing? And it was so obvious in the hour-and-a-half meeting that we had that he was so afraid of Trump. He was so afraid of Trump. Because we know that our voices may not be heard in this administration, but corporate voices do have a voice, right? And they need to speak up. So let's hope that they do. But in the meantime, let's give them a little bit of pain, all right? By just not buying the Target. And all of the great work that you're doing, as we've said here several times, that you need more money to be able to continue the work and to expand the work. Yes, please come up to the Central Valley. We need you up there, okay? Farm workers are losing their homes also. So, one of the ways that we organized in the Farm Workers Union, and we still do with my foundation, we have what we call house meetings. So you could have a house party or a house dinner and invite your friends to dinner, or just to have a little coffee or meeting, and then ask them to contribute to this great organization, okay? Right here. So we're missing our goal, but that's an easy way to get where we want to go, and maybe a little bit more, all right? So I want to invite you to do all of that, and I know that you can and you will. And so again, I want to thank you very much for this honor. And when we think about this dark period and what's going to be happening in the next couple of years, we do know we have elections coming up in 2026, so we can kind of reverse some of the things that are happening right now. But I think what we have to do in these hard times is think about what will happen when this dark period is over. And I remember during the Depression, what happened after the Depression, we got the New Deal. We got many public services that hadn't existed before that. We went through the time of the Vietnam War when people were divided, because of the war. And what came out of, after that period in the 60s and the 70s, we got the Civil Rights Movement, the Chicano movement, the LGBTQ movement, the environmental movement, the women's movement took a big surge. So we have to start thinking about what do we want our future to look like after this dark period is over. And we can always remember, as the poets say, they can cut down all the flowers, but they can't hold back the spring. They can cut down all the flowers, but they can't hold back the spring. So by your work that you have really shown the world what can be, by giving of your time and your resources to help others, that's what we all have to do. So again, I want to thank you very much. And let me end with this. And I like to do this, and some of you know the routine that have heard me speak before. Public council people are here, I know. Let's give them an applause. So let's all stand up, and I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, okay? Everybody to your feet. We've been sitting for a while. So I'm going to ask you two questions, and I know that you know the answers, but I want you to shout the answers really, really loud so all the haters can hear us. We know who they are, right? All those haters out there. So the first question I'm going to ask you who's got the power. I want you to say, we've got the power. Second question is, what kind of power? And I want you to say, people power, right? So we go, maybe I should say legal power, right? Yeah, let's change that. Let's say legal power. All right. Okay. Okay, let's go. Who's got the power? We got the power. That doesn't sound very loud, does it? Okay, I know as attorneys, you're not, legal people, you're not used to shout. Okay, let's shout. Pretend you're at a Dodger game. All right, let's go. Who's got the power? We got the power. What kind of power? Are we going to use our legal power to bring society to a sensible insanity? What do we say? ¿Se puede? Sí, se puede. One more time. ¿Se puede? Sí, se puede. Okay, let's all end with an organized hand clap. Let's go. Sí, se puede. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this honor.
Wow. Once again, congratulations to our Humanitarian Award honoree recipient, Dolores Huerta. Now, please welcome ICLC Director of Development, Karika Thompson.
Hello, everyone. I have so much gratitude as we close out Inner City Law Center's 25th Annual Awards Luncheon. Before I start there, I'd love to see where are we at on the screen? How much are we raising? Thank you all so much for all of your donations and contributions. Wonderful. I think we're at about $71,000. There was a little bit of a mix-up before. Our goal is still $100,000, and we still have time. We actually have an anonymous donor who is going to match $25,000 if we can get to $75,000. Can we do it? Okay, so now's your chance. If you've given already, great. You can still give more. But if you haven't, please, all donations are important. $100, $10, $1,000, whatever you're able to give, we would really appreciate it. So we'll check in and see where we're at later. But first I want to show, like I said, I want to thank everyone who showed up here today. Your presence at this event is a testament to your dedication to ending homelessness. So please give yourselves a well-deserved round of applause. Thank you to our generous event sponsors. It is your support that really makes Inner City Law Center's work possible, and you have our deepest gratitude. Thank you, as Adam mentioned, to all of the Inner City Law Center staff for the difficult work that you do day after day. But especially I want to give an extra special shout out to all of the staff who are here today, whether in a volunteer role or to show support. We couldn't do what we do without all of the staff, so thank you. Also, I want to say thank you to our fearless leadership team, and of course to my own small but very mighty development staff for the tireless work, let's give it up for them, that they have done to help make this event happen. So you all have my sincere thanks. I also want to take a moment to thank Inner City Law Center's Board of Directors and Advisory Board members. We have several of them here in the house tonight, or in the afternoon, so please, if you're here, board members, take a stand. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. So many of them, such staunch supporters of ICLC. Thank you. Your leadership has crafted the trajectory of Inner City Law Center's evolution, and I really can't wait to see what and where your vision takes us in the coming years. I also want to say thank you to the courageous clients that shared their stories with us here. All of them are actually here. So Dawn, Lisbeth, and Lexi, I believe you're over here. Please stand. Let's give it up for them. So thank you. And again, thank you to all of those who have donated here today, whether, again, it was $1 or $10,000. Let's see if we can check out the thermometer one more time. Are we closer to? Okay, we're making progress. So again, take out your phones. It's not too late. Please make your donations. It does take all of us working together to raise such an impressive amount. And now we are very lucky to have a fantastic music performance from the LA Can Freedom Singers. The Freedom Singers represent the musical wing of arts and culture at LA Can. And they're comprised of members from the Skid Row community. In their own words, freedom singing has been with us from the beginning of racial capitalism. It was the salve that helped our wounds and the sounds that forged our resistance. They are also semifinalists on America's Got Talent. They perform for a global audience, and they have a very busy tour schedule, so we're very lucky to have them with us. But the LA Can Freedom Singers always remind us that art has no address. So I'm thrilled that they have joined us today. It is my very special pleasure to introduce the wonderful and talented LA Can Freedom Singers.
Hello, hello. How's everybody doing? 71,000, trying to get to 100,000. The Freedom Singers have $500 to get to that match, so hopefully someone in the room can match our 500 so Inner City can get to that $100,000 goal as our neighbors. I think we're ready. Cue music.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, just like that river I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know my change gon' come. Yes, it will. It's been too hard living, but I ain't afraid to die, 'cause I know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know my change has gotta come. Yes, it will. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of men. Can you imagine? Imagine all here, sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, oh, but I'm not the only one. No, I hope someday that you'll join us. Can you join us? And the world will live as one.
And I go to my brother.
Go to my brother, my brother, my brother.
Help me, please.
Help me, please.
But he winds up.
He winds up knocking me. Knocking and knocking and knocking me down on my knees. Down on my knees. You may say I'm a dreamer, oh, but I'm not the only one. No, I hope someday that you'll join us, oh, and the world will live as one, and this world will live as one. And the world will live as one. Oh, yes, it will. And the world will live as one.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love. That's the only thing that there's just too little love.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. What the world needs now. Will you sing with us? is love, sweet love. That's the only thing. That's the only thing. That there's just too little love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. Change gon' come. Oh, yes it will.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, the Freedom Singers. Match that 500, match that 500. Let's get to 100,000. Thank you, ICLC.
Again, special thanks to the LA Can Freedom Singers. Give it up for them, would you please? And now we're going to take one last look at the thermometer. Let's see where we are at $76,934. That is great. Which means we met that goal of total $101,934. Congratulations and thank you for all of your support. Wow. Again, special thanks for all of you attending and for your support of Inner City Law Center. Thank you to all of our honorees. Special thanks to the Luncheon Committee, Board of Directors, and to all the clients in the videos. Many thanks to all ICLC staff for their hard work and commitment to our mission. Thank you to everyone that's donated. I'm your announcer, Roland Wiley. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your day.